I want to be honest. Coming in this manic state of this video, I don't know why they hate each other so much. They're so similar in every single instance of the word. And this subreddit post here from the Vaush V subreddit doesn't really help any case either, because basically what they're trying to say is stop bringing Destiny up so Vaush doesn't have to bring up Destiny, which I've watched a fair bit of Vaush streams, and I will say, unprompted, there are very few instances where Destiny will be brought up in general, mainly because he doesn't want to debate Destiny anymore. And while I've been watching the past few Destiny streams, almost every other debate or every debate, there's a Vaush reference that is dropped there, just a vague reference, and then his whole point was to talk about the position as somewhat similar to Vaush's position, but not necessarily 100% tied to Vaush. I think the most recent one was when he was talking to Mr. Girl the third time in the video I was reviewing, and he said that coercion, just like when socialists compare coercion of work to coercion in general to conflate the word to make it less meaningless, he brings a Vaush's analogy there, which isn't 100% synonymous with the situation involved, because it was mostly a coercion aspect in regards to sex. And again, this is one comparison, one analogy. And the reason I bring that up is because whenever Destiny brings up analogies, usually one usually like a very straight analogous comparable, you can just look at it for what it is, bing bang boom, call it a day, right? That was a bit weird there. And also other instances like that where it's like vaguely referencing him, or he would mention that I have been betrayed multiple times. People who do what I do, copy my thoughts, and then just leave my clout and go away, like Vaush in the song, like he's bringing them up. So I would say streamer to streamer, I would definitely say, given that also Destiny has a couple of Vaush alerts, he is more riling up the streamer aspect for one-to-one comparison. But when it comes to the communities, on the other hand, where most of the hate is false, where most of the hate is fueled and hate cycled and constantly ran through this and the third, I would say equivalent, because unironically, VGG does watch a lot of Destiny, and then DGG does watch a lot of Vaush. Because this subreddit post, I saw this, I think yesterday and I'm following the Vaush subreddit, and then this subreddit itself was posted yesterday as well. So they must have immediately saw the post on a Vaush subreddit, it said an hour ago, ran over here and just dropped this shit here. So clearly both communities love hating on each other to the point where like they are creating their own content for their own streamer to then in turn make more drama about it. I remember the last Vaush stream, which was a couple streams ago, it was the drama involving Destiny not calling the N-word with a soft A slur, the whole video I made over there, which no one watched, by the way. Yeah, so Vaush gave his take on that, but before that, it was also about the two-match shit. But like both those instances, they were prompted by chat. Chat was influencing him to constantly bring that up. Now, again, he's a grown-ass man. He could ignore all these messages and keep moving on. I agree with that aspect, so therefore he's not 100% in the clear. But I will also say that, as I mentioned before, the community, VGG itself, loves Destiny drama, loves seeing him riled up, and loves seeing him talk about Vaush, because then they in turn can go to their parasocial daddy and say, look, he's making mean arguments about you. Please fight him back so I can have something to say in my head against him, because he's making fun of you, but I don't know what to say because I'm not you. It's very odd. That's that for sure. I guess I criticize the DGG community because I haven't gotten to you guys yet. So whenever it comes to the DGG community, we're criticizing Vaush, for example. I had a commenter on my very first video on this channel, actually. Let me see if I can find it. One second. Now, I'll state this off rip. I don't know if this guy is DGG or not. I'm not going to make that claim. I'm just going to read it as is. You made the statement that all most Destiny fans think Vaush the pedo. That's really dumb strawman, and even close to the portion DGG thinks that. The only close thing said to that was that Destiny tweeted that he thinks there's a greater chance of Vaush being accused of a pedo accusation compared to Mr. Girl, and that this was response to Vaush pretty much calling Mr. Girl a pedo on Twitter after the debate. This is weird because in my video, in the video he's talking about, which is the Mr. Girl problem, Mr. Girl question, whatever I called it, my very first video, by the way, check that one out. I state that they don't call Vaush a pedophile. I state if you think Vaush is a pedophile because of XYZ, but don't think Mr. Girl's a pedophile because XYZ, but their actions are either equal or somewhat imbalancedly worse one or the other, then they both have to be called pedophiles, somewhat more harmful pedophile than another. And you just can't pick and choose whenever you feel like it because you want to, right? That was my whole argument there. I never accused DGG of blatantly calling Vaush a pedophile. I'm just saying with this framework, this constant bringing up of Vaush's creepy past, of Vaush's out of context clips, of Vaush's, miscellaneous activities that are malicious, and whenever people do that with Mr. Girl, you defend him. So that's my whole thing there. So again, with DGG, they are very selective when it comes to their hate. Like, they choose to specifically target people either Destiny deemed as a target or is this a radical communist bullshit tier leftist. Like, I remember there's a couple tweets in the Reddit as well that they would post in response to any recent dramas, and it would be like one like tweets or tweets from like 2 follower accounts or tweets from like insane 12-year-olds on Twitter and aren't really representative of the entire opposite position. They just frame it as such, so therefore they can attack the position as if that's opposition entirely, and therefore feel morally justified every single thing they do, which I feel like is a wee bit weird. Like, why frame your opposition's position as such a outlandish, goofy take that you don't even have to logistically break down, instead of focusing on the real position to actually challenge yourself mentally? Like, what's the point of doing that? What's the whole point of this debate discussion thing if it's not to mentally engage and challenge your rigid core beliefs? I'd say a decent majority of the DGG subreddit is that they're more bent on calling out for hypocrisy, and hypocrisy is being the end-all be-all for any of all discussion. Now, again, this is representative of the entire community of DGG. I'm not saying that whatsoever, because every single post has like 30 fucking plus comments disagreeing every single time, so it's hilarious. There's like a lot of overlap with a lot of different communities, so that's definitely a good thing for sure. And I've seen multiple polls of who's worse, Vaush or Lawrence Southern, who was actually doing more harm to the internet, and it'll also include Vaush. It'd be constantly bringing up Vaush in multiple instances, then a third. So in that instance as well, they are equivalent in bringing each other up. And also another thing with the DGG community as well, albeit the memes are pretty funny. The memes are pretty funny, pretty edgy. I do like watching the memes, and they're pretty funny and edgy. So basically, what I'm trying to say after all this, what I'm trying to surmise after all of this, and climp chimping each other's shares of another community, trying to say is the VGG community itself, they want more Destiny versus Vaush drama and for Destiny Vaush content, because those get a lot of views on the video, and talking about drama in general gives them a sense of superiority because they get to keep up in the know, and also they get to, you know, shit on Destiny. And in DGG's instance, you have constant just shotgun blasting of any radical leftist, Vaush and Hassan being the main targets since they're the biggest ones, but shotgun blasts everywhere around. And whenever they are talked about, they immediately get defensive in a rabid sense. They throw out their 4 or 5 paragraph essays. They throw out their massive 3 terabyte clip instance of every single time Vaush vaguely referenced child pornography or pedophilia. I do feel like I'm looking at the subreddit here. Like, I do feel like at this point, we can call this obsessive, right? This specific person, not the community, but this specific person, we can call this obsessive. Like, for example, if we had someone in Vaush's subreddit that did this shit for Destiny, that's obsessive. So we can clearly call us out for what this is, right? Because this is just... Again, I'm not defending any of these. Like, even if they're all wrong, even if they're all right, even if they're all clipped in the context, I don't give a fuck. Like, using I hypocrite as a reference to shit on your political opponent is a bit wonky given hype. That's a bit out of in itself. I will say that the obsession characterization and accusation is just throwing a stone in a glass house, you know? If you know anything about anything of what I was saying right now, you're also obsessed with both communities, so that's just, you're relevant here. If you're watching this video, you're also obsessed. If you're making this video, you're also obsessed. Like that term is relevant. At this point, it's more about who talks about who first, who talks about who the most, and how that attitude is fostered in each community. I feel like because of Vaush's community, he constantly doesn't want to talk about it, while Destiny is blatantly encouraging it, shows the dichotomy of, you know, the trajectory of which each wants to go with how they confront one another. And also on top of that, it also shows the trajectory of their platform in the future. I feel like Destiny's platform, albeit it is very helpful, you know, it is very funny, it's very wholesome. There's a decent chunk of change I can't watch the stream because it's just full of drama and shitting on Twitter leftists, because that's just boring to me. Destiny's content is ideal when he sprinkles that in every now and again, because it is funny to bring up the meme. Dumbass of the year to Destiny War, some shit like that. That's actually funny. That's generally funny. It remind you, oh yeah, this motherfucker sucked. This stupid dumbass bitch. Like, yeah. But like, if it's like 3 to 5 hours worth of just that drama content as is, then it's starting to get a bit weird. Like, I'm starting to get involved with this when I don't even want to. Like, I don't even have a Twitter at this point, and you're starting to make me, it's like that. Like, you're making me involved in shit that you incited. It's very weird in that essence. And I guess in the Vaush aspects, for the streamer shit, just stop talking about him then. Like, just generally just stop talking about him. If your whole stance is you want to stop talking about it, you don't want to argue with him whatsoever. Because the more you keep talking about it, the more you keep bringing them up, and then simultaneously saying, oh, I don't want to talk about this, ban the subreddit, you're sending mixed messages completely, entirely. I feel like this explains both of the hate and like justifiably tries to rationalize each other's hate. Again, obsessive isn't the right word to use here because they're both obsessed, but in the streamer to streamer aspect, I would say Destiny's more obsessed in the streamer to streamer aspect, for sure.